Have you ever found yourself feeling a little off, maybe more tired than usual, or noticed a small ache that you just brushed off as part of getting older? It's so easy, isn't it, to attribute every little change in our bodies to the passage of time. We tell ourselves, "Oh, that's just my age catching up," or "I didn't sleep well," or "I must have pulled something." But what if those subtle, often dismissed signals are actually your body trying to tell you something far more important? Something about the very engine that keeps you going. The painful reality is that many of us, especially after we turn 60, might be overlooking crucial whispers from our hearts, mistaking them for innocent signs of aging when they could be cries for help. It's a silent conversation our body is trying to have with us, and knowing how to listen can make all the difference. The secret isn't in waiting for the dramatic chest pain we've all been taught to fear, but in recognizing the surprising, often strange, symptoms that can hint at heart trouble long before a major event. In this video, we're going to dive deep into 6 surprising, sometimes even puzzling, symptoms that could reveal your heart is struggling, and why it's so important to pay attention to them as you get older. These aren't the obvious signs, but they are incredibly common and often misunderstood. So, lean in close, because understanding these can truly empower you to take charge of your health. Watch to the end for something that will surprise you. Now, let's start with the first strange symptom, one that many of us unfortunately normalize as we age: an unusual, persistent fatigue or weakness that just doesn't seem to go away. We've all had days where we feel tired, especially after a busy day or a restless night. But I'm talking about a profound, overwhelming exhaustion that lingers, even after you've had what feels like adequate rest. It's the kind of tiredness that makes simple daily tasks feel like monumental efforts. Imagine waking up feeling as if you haven't slept at all, even though you were in bed for 8 hours. Or perhaps you find yourself feeling completely drained after just a short walk to the mailbox, an activity that used to be effortless. This isn't just about feeling a bit sleepy in the afternoon. This is about a deep-seated weariness that saps your energy for everything you normally enjoy. It might be a sudden inability to do things you once did easily, like carrying groceries up the stairs, or finding yourself out of breath just tying your shoelaces. This kind of fatigue isn't just a sign of getting old. When your heart isn't pumping blood effectively, it means your body's organs and tissues aren't receiving enough oxygen and nutrients to function optimally. Your muscles, including your heart itself, are constantly working, and if they're not getting the fuel they need, they signal distress through exhaustion. Think of it like a car engine that's running on low fuel. It might still move, but it won't have the power it normally does, and it will quickly sputter out. For example, Sarah, a vibrant woman in her early 70s, loved tending her garden. She'd spend hours out there, pruning roses and planting new flowers. But over a few months, she noticed she was getting utterly exhausted after just 15 minutes. She'd dismiss it, thinking, "Well, I'm not as young as I used to be." But this was a new, different kind of fatigue, a heavy weight she couldn't shake. Her doctor eventually discovered her heart wasn't pumping as efficiently as it should, leading to that profound tiredness. So, if you find yourself feeling consistently, unusually tired, with a lack of energy that's more than just a passing phase, don't just brush it off as age. It's a sign your body might be working harder than it should, and it's worth a conversation with your doctor. They can help determine if it's indeed related to your heart or something else that needs attention. Remember, listening to your body isn't about being overly anxious. It's about being proactively kind to yourself. Now, beyond feeling that overwhelming tiredness, another perplexing sign that often gets mistaken for something benign is swelling in your legs, ankles, or feet. This swelling, often referred to as edema, isn't just about your shoes feeling a bit tight at the end of the day, or a bit of puffiness after a long flight. I'm talking about persistent, noticeable swelling, where your skin might look stretched or shiny, And if you press your finger into it, it might leave a temporary indentation. It's particularly concerning if this swelling is new, has gotten worse, or if it's affecting both legs. For instance, imagine waking up in the morning, and before you even get out of bed, you notice your ankles look noticeably larger than usual, or you take off your socks at night, and the elastic band has left deep, lasting marks on your skin. What's happening here is that a struggling heart might not be strong enough to pump blood efficiently back up from your lower extremities. This causes fluid to build up in those areas, gravity doing its part to keep it pooled there. It's a bit like a plumbing system where the pump isn't quite powerful enough to get all the water back to the main reservoir, so it starts backing up in the pipes at the lowest points. This isn't just an aesthetic issue. It can be a significant indicator that your heart isn't managing its fluid workload effectively. This fluid retention can also be accompanied by unexpected weight gain. Even if your eating habits haven't changed, that's because you're literally carrying extra fluid in your body. John, an active gentleman who enjoyed walking his dog daily, started noticing his favorite walking shoes felt tighter and tighter. He thought maybe he just needed new shoes, or that he was retaining water from something he ate. But the swelling became more pronounced, affecting his ankles and even creeping up his calves. When he finally mentioned it to his doctor, they discovered his heart was indeed having trouble circulating blood, leading to this fluid buildup. It's a common misconception that swelling is simply a sign of too much salt or standing too long. And while those can contribute, persistent or worsening edema, especially in the lower body, demands attention, particularly when you're over 60. Don't dismiss it. Your body is giving you a very visual cue that something might be off with its internal plumbing. It's a direct message about fluid balance and circulation that your heart plays a major role in. So, if you're seeing persistent puffiness in your lower legs or feet, it's not something to just ignore. It's a signal to check in with a healthcare professional to understand the underlying cause. And speaking of things that can be easily dismissed, let's move on to a symptom that often gets mistaken for a common cold, or allergies, a persistent cough, or wheezing. Now, when I say persistent cough or wheezing, I don't mean the kind of cough you get with a cold that clears up in a week or two, or the occasional wheeze if you have asthma or allergies that you already know about. This is different. This is a cough that lingers, sometimes for weeks or even months, often getting worse at night or when you lie down. It can be a dry cough, or it might produce white or pink-tinged mucus, which can be particularly alarming. Imagine you've had this nagging little cough that just won't quit. You might think, oh, it's just a lingering cough from that bug I had. Or, my allergies are really acting up this season. But if it's accompanied by shortness of breath, or if it feels like a constant irritation in your throat or chest, it could be a sign that your heart is struggling. Here's why. When your heart isn't pumping blood effectively, particularly if it's the left side of your heart that's weakening, blood can back up into the veins leading to your lungs. This increased pressure can cause fluid to leak into the air sacs of your lungs, leading to congestion. Your body's natural response to this fluid is to try and clear it out, which results in a cough. The wheezing occurs because the fluid in your lungs can narrow your airways, making it harder to breathe and causing that whistling sound. It's a lot like having a sponge that's slowly getting waterlogged. Eventually, it becomes heavy and doesn't function as well, and water starts to drip out. Think of Margaret, who kept complaining about a chronic cough. She'd tried all sorts of cough syrups, thinking she was just prone to bronchitis. Her family doctor even suggested it might be reflux. But the cough persisted, and she started noticing she felt more breathless after even light activity. It was only when she mentioned the pinkish tinge of some of her mucus that her doctor became concerned and investigated her heart, finding that her heart was indeed struggling to keep up, leading to fluid in her lungs. This type of cough or wheezing is often one of those aha moments for people when they finally realize it's not just a respiratory issue. It's a critical signal that fluid is building up where it shouldn't be. and your heart might be the root cause. So, if you have a persistent cough, especially one that produces colored phlegm, or if you find yourself wheezing without a clear explanation like asthma, it's incredibly important not to just dismiss it. It warrants a serious conversation with your doctor because it could be your heart sending a distress signal. Beyond these more physical symptoms, sometimes the signs of heart trouble can be truly unexpected, manifesting in ways you might never associate with your heart. Like digestive issues. That's right. Digestive issues can be a strange, yet significant, symptom of heart trouble. We're talking about things like persistent nausea, a general loss of appetite, or even a feeling of abdominal discomfort or pain that doesn't seem related to anything you've eaten. It's so easy to dismiss these as simple indigestion, a touch of acid reflux, or just feeling a bit off that day. After all, digestive upset is incredibly common, especially as we age and our digestive systems might become a little more sensitive. But here's the surprising connection when your heart isn't pumping effectively. It can lead to fluid buildup not just in your legs or lungs, but also in your abdominal area. This excess fluid can cause swelling around your liver and intestines, leading to a feeling of fullness, discomfort, or even nausea. Think of it like a crowded room. If there's too much fluid taking up space, your digestive organs don't have the room they need to function comfortably. This can make you feel bloated, nauseous, and simply not interested in food. Even if you normally enjoy eating, imagine you're sitting down to dinner, and suddenly, the thought of food just makes your stomach churn, or you find yourself feeling full after just a few bites, even though you know you haven't eaten much all day. It's a subtle but persistent feeling of general stomach upset. For instance, Robert, a man who always enjoyed his meals, began to notice he was constantly feeling a bit nauseous, especially after eating, and his appetite dwindled significantly. He started losing weight, which he initially put down to eating healthier, or just a natural part of aging. He tried various over-the-counter remedies for indigestion, but nothing really helped. It wasn't until he started experiencing some shortness of breath that his doctor looked closer, discovering that his heart was weakened, causing fluid to back up into his digestive system. This explains why he felt sick to his stomach and had no desire to eat. So, if you're experiencing ongoing nausea, a significant loss of appetite, or unexplained abdominal discomfort that isn't resolving, especially if it's coupled with any of the other symptoms we've discussed, it's a symptom that deserves attention. It's not just your stomach acting up. It could be your heart telling you it's struggling to keep everything flowing smoothly. It's a reminder that our bodies are incredibly interconnected, and what seems like one problem might actually be pointing to something deeper. Now, let's talk about a symptom that often catches people completely off guard because it doesn't involve the chest at all. Pain that radiates to unusual places. When we think of heart attack pain, our minds immediately jump to the classic image of someone clutching their chest, maybe with pain shooting down their left arm. And yes, that absolutely can be a sign. But what many people don't realize is that heart pain, or angina, can manifest in incredibly strange and unexpected places, far from your chest. I'm talking about pain or discomfort that radiates to your jaw, your neck, your back, your stomach, or even your right arm, not just your left. This isn't usually a sharp, stabbing pain. It's often described as a dull ache, a feeling of pressure, tightness, or even numbness. It can be confusing because it doesn't always feel like pain in the traditional sense, but more like an uncomfortable sensation that just doesn't feel right. Imagine waking up with a persistent ache in your jaw, like you've been clenching your teeth all night, or a nagging pain in your upper back that you attribute to sleeping in a weird position. Or perhaps you feel a tightness in your neck, or an unusual discomfort that spreads across your shoulders. What's happening here is a phenomenon called referred pain. Your heart has a complex network of nerves, and sometimes, when there's an issue with the heart, These nerves can send pain signals to other parts of your body that share the same nerve pathways. Your brain, trying to interpret these signals, sometimes misinterprets where the pain is actually coming from. It's like a faulty electrical wire that causes a light to flicker in a different room. Consider Mary, a woman in her late 60s, who started experiencing a dull, persistent ache in her upper back, right between her shoulder blades. She'd tried stretches, massages, even thought she needed a new mattress. For weeks, she just lived with it, attributing it to age or muscle strain. It was only when the pain intensified slightly, and she also felt a strange, subtle pressure in her jaw, that her daughter insisted she see a doctor. It turned out to be angina, a sign that her heart wasn't getting enough blood flow. The back and jaw pain were her body's unusual way of signaling heart trouble. This is particularly crucial for women, as they often experience these atypical symptoms more frequently than men, sometimes even without any chest discomfort at all. So, if you're experiencing new, unexplained aches or pressure in your jaw, neck, upper back, stomach, or either arm, don't dismiss it as just a pulled muscle or stress, especially if it occurs with activity and eases with rest, or if it's accompanied by any of the other symptoms we've discussed. It could be your heart sending you a subtle but serious message from an unexpected location. It's a powerful reminder that heart disease doesn't always follow the textbook symptoms. And listening to these strange pains is incredibly important for your well-being. And finally, let's turn our attention to another symptom that can be easily brushed off as minor, but could signal something significant: lightheadedness, dizziness, or even fainting spells. Lightheadedness, dizziness, or even fainting spells are often attributed to low blood sugar, standing up too quickly, or just not hydrating enough. And yes, those can certainly be causes. But if these episodes are happening frequently, without a clear reason, or if they're accompanied by any of the other symptoms we've discussed, they can be a very serious red flag for your heart. Imagine you're walking across a room, and suddenly you feel a wave of lightheadedness, as if the room is spinning, or you feel like you might pass out, or perhaps you stand up from a chair, and the world goes black for a moment, making you feel unsteady on your feet. In more severe cases, you might actually faint, losing consciousness for a brief period. What's going on here is directly related to blood flow to your brain. Your brain needs a consistent supply of oxygen-rich blood to function properly. If your heart isn't pumping blood efficiently, or if there's an issue with its electrical system like an irregular heartbeat, the blood flow to your brain can temporarily decrease. When that happens, your brain signals distress in the form of dizziness or lightheadedness. If the blood flow drops too significantly, even for a moment, it can lead to a full fainting spell. Think of it like a computer that suddenly loses power. Everything goes dark, and it shuts down. This isn't just about feeling a bit woozy. It's about your body's most vital organ, your brain, not getting the fuel it needs. Consider Arthur, who, at 68, was still quite active, playing golf a few times a week. He started noticing that after a strenuous shot, or sometimes even just walking up a slight incline, he would feel incredibly dizzy, almost like he was going to fall over. He'd blame it on the heat, or not eating enough. But the episodes became more frequent and alarming. On one occasion, he actually fainted for a few seconds on the golf course, which prompted an immediate doctor's visit. Tests revealed he had an arrhythmia, an irregular heartbeat, which was causing his heart to pump blood inefficiently, leading to those dizzy spells. This highlights just how important it is to take these symptoms seriously, even if they seem fleeting. Fainting, in particular, should never be ignored, as it can indicate a severe underlying issue with your heart or its electrical system that needs immediate medical attention, even if it's just mild lightheadedness that seems to come and go. Pay close attention to the circumstances surrounding it. Is it happening during activity when you're stressed, or is it completely random? These details can provide valuable clues for your doctor. So, if you're experiencing unexplained lightheadedness, frequent bouts of dizziness, or have had any fainting spells, please don't wait. Talk to your doctor as soon as possible. Your brain and your heart are sending you a clear message that something needs to be checked. So, we've walked through 6 surprising, often overlooked symptoms that can reveal your heart might be in trouble after 60. We talked about that nagging, unusual fatigue that goes beyond just being tired, and how it can signal your heart working overtime. Then we discussed the persistent swelling in your legs, ankles, and feet, a visual cue that fluid might be backing up due to a struggling pump. We also explored how a persistent cough or wheezing, especially with colored mucus, isn't always just a respiratory issue but can point to fluid in your lungs from a weary heart. We looked at the unexpected connection between heart trouble and digestive issues like nausea or loss of appetite, caused by fluid backup in your abdomen. And remember that strange pain that might show up in your jaw, neck, back, or arm, far from your chest, which is your heart's way of sending a signal through referred pain. Finally, we emphasized the importance of not dismissing lightheadedness, dizziness, or even fainting, as these are direct signs of reduced blood flow to your brain. Remember, what's truly powerful here is that you now have knowledge that many people simply don't. You're empowered to listen to your body in a new way, to notice those subtle whispers before they become shouts. Small changes, like paying closer attention to these seemingly minor symptoms, can make an enormous difference in your overall health and happiness, truly impacting your quality of life as you continue to embrace your best years. You don't have to live with unexplained aches, persistent tiredness, or sudden dizzy spells. Your body is constantly communicating with you, and understanding these strange symptoms means you're better equipped to advocate for your own health. It's about being proactive, not reactive, and giving your heart the attention and care it deserves. We'd love to hear from you. Have you experienced any of these unusual symptoms? And did you connect them to your heart health? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your story could truly help someone else who might be going through something similar. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more practical, heart-healthy advice and insights to help you live your best life at every age. Thank you for joining us today. And remember, your health journey is a lifelong adventure, and you have the power to make every step a strong and healthy one. Keep listening to your body, keep learning, and keep living your best life at every age.